Welcome back to another episode of Tech Ascent, the show where we dive into the trends, strategies, and success stories that are reshaping the tech landscape as we know it today. I'm your host, Oliver Clingain. I'm also the founder of Ascension, the premier business development partner within tech. Today, we've got another great guest join us, joined by Ori Anavim, the co-founder and CEO of Grasshopper Labs. Ori, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Oliver. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. Would you mind kicking us off, just telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Grasshopper Labs?
Sure. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Grasshopper Labs, which is a TMS and WMS end-to-end platform for big and bulky deliveries. We help logistic companies and retailers to manage the entire supply chain from the manufacturer distribution dock all the way to their delivery hubs, all the way down to the customer home.
Very cool. And what made you want to kick this company off?
So Grasshopper story started from another company that my co-founder Doug and I started about 10 years ago, the company called Deliveright. And we built proprietary technology to serve the Deliveright mission. Deliveright grew up to be a sizable company. And a few years in, we realized that the software is very good to be used outside the proprietary network that we built. And we had external customers' interest to license it. And we started licensing it out more of a very one at a time basis. And eventually realized there is a much more opportunity for much bigger customers and bigger market. And we eventually spin it off to a separate company. And I, along with the team that used to build the Grasshopper for Deliveright, moved out to be kind of its own company on its own, pretty much.
Nice. And how long ago did you start Deliveright? And then how long ago did you branch off with Grasshopper?
So Deliveright started about 10 years ago, I think March 2015, and became the number one rated nationwide delivery solution for big and bulky furniture, appliances, and things like this. About 2 years ago, where we spinned off Grasshopper outside Deliveright to work with other companies that either work with Deliveright or could be a competitor of Deliveright as well.
Awesome. So it's been a nice little 12-year journey for you.
Yes, it is.
And prior to that, prior to kicking off Deliveright, what was your background? Were you always an entrepreneur? How'd you come up with Deliveright?
So I wasn't always an entrepreneur. I wanted always to do something on my own. Originally, I grew up in Israel. I moved to the States about 22 years ago, 2003. Most of my early career, I was in banking, in Wall Street primarily. Worked for some of the largest banks, mostly on the trading floor, on the technology side, and some of the fixed income analytics on some other parts of the banking. And when I met my co-founder, Doug, more than 10 years ago, I realized, maybe it's time for you to give it a shot and bet everything on yourself, leave the comfortable, very secure job that I had, and get paid less and work 3 times as hard and get angry about, from any side of the business, whether it's customers, employees, etc. But with one goal eventually to build something that is, I think, where it is today, to be honest. A large company with many employees, and it's just a successful track record.
Sounds like it. And there's obviously a lot of trends going on in the tech space, Ori, AI, cybersecurity, things like that. Is there anything specific that's going on within the transportation and warehousing part of the tech sector?
Yes, we've seen so the shift over the years, clearly since I would say early days, or in the last 5 to 7 years with the Amazon impact, is the need for visibility became a must. It's not an option anymore. And this pushed, created a first wave of a lot of visibility solutions out there for many companies to adopt, whether it's logistic companies or retailers. So you can see names like Project 44 and the like. The next level of visibility is that those companies still had to integrate multiple different solutions underneath. So if you are a transportation company and you have your transportation management system, you also have your warehouse management system. And those are typically two separate companies or two separate solutions that you need to figure out yourself how to integrate them together. And most logistic companies do not have a tech team on site. So they have to get a third-party company to figure out how to connect those two teams, two separate systems. And that's become a very, very cumbersome process, okay, and very expensive. And I think where we took the different approaches is that, if you really want to have a full end-to-end control on the process, you need to be able to have one system that can manage both your transportation side, whether it's first mile, middle mile, final mile, as well as everything that's coming in and out and happening inside your warehouse at the same time, all under one platform. And what we think was early bet in the old days, ask us, you guys trying too much at the same time, now becoming much more relevant for many, many companies because their customers need to know a lot more, and they need to know in a much more the threshold became so much more higher than it used to be that you have to provide a full visibility. You can't just provide me a visibility when the delivery is on the way to the customer home. I need to know when the delivery is on the way through the entire supply chain. And customers that are more tech savvy will have a very hard time, or if they will not even do business with companies that do not have this technology behind it to support this visibility and management of the entire thing.
And there's obviously the consumer side of it. You said if they're tech savvy, they might not do business. They can't get full insight and full visibility into their essentially supply chain, we'll call it. How do you go about educating your prospects who might not be so tech savvy about the importance of that?
I think this is where the fact we used to run a delivery company as we were building the tech stack gave us a great advantage on a typical technology company that never actually had the real life experience of working in a warehouse. So I think when you look on all the pain points of the consumer that expecting to get a delivery, it's not only ends up in the day of delivery where they need to make sure that the delivery is done correctly on time, according to what they expected. It's also the entire journey from the moment they purchase the order. And keep in mind, our focus or niche is on the big and bulky world, which a typical transaction, it's not in the tens or hundreds of dollars. It's usually in the thousands of dollars or many thousands of dollars. So everything here is much more critical, both from the consumer, because he made a big purchase. Okay, it could be a living room, could be a dining room, could be appliances, okay, as well as the retailer, the one who sold the product, because now that's a big transaction. If something goes wrong, that's going to cost a lot of money for everyone. And last but not least is the carrier handling it. You need to make sure this is going to be done as perfect as possible. Now, if you connect it all together, when an order pretty much just being completed or purchased, the consumer at this point is already nervous. He needs to know when I'm going to get my delivery. I know I need to be home. This is not someone that can drop someone outside my door, my entire living room. That's going to be a very complicated process for me to install my living room into my house. And even more important, I want to make sure that everything done correctly to my own experience. What I mean by that is like, I want to know when is my delivery is coming. I want to pick it, okay? Most companies in the old days used to say, hey, we're coming tomorrow. You just need to be ready. Today, this is not how people work. Today is like people have schedule and they would like to have the opportunity to select what day they need to be home to receive the product. And then it continues with the entire process of like, if something goes wrong, does someone know how to handle it? If things are on the way and things get delayed, I would like to know about this as well. If you're becoming a preemptive or have a preemptive solution, your entire the noise that you're going to get from customers will be a lot less. Because remember, the best example we can look at it is like a carrier is like a goalie. Okay, you can be the best goalie for 90 minutes, and you got the goal in the 91 minutes. Everyone remember the long goal that you got. So carrier, if they do perfectly, they did what they expected. Okay, but if they make one little mess, the entire internet will see about it the next day. So you cannot be perfect because a big item to deliver, things gonna go wrong. But if you can minimize it, and you're also becoming much more proactive with the customer will be more understandable from the beginning. And what we see on our customer base is that the platform itself providing their customers a much more comfortable experience, which result in much better reviews. Okay, we connecting to all the public reviews online and generating a lot of very good public reviews, which eventually yield more customers and more good experience down the road. So it's this system is a very close system in helping everyone to keep building up on what they have right now.
Yeah. And it sounds like something I've noticed across the tech space is the importance of just managing customer expectations in general. If you promise the world and you can't deliver regardless of what happens, or if you're a goalie, you can play 90 good minutes, you fumble that 91st minute, you're going to be in a tough spot. So it's really all about managing expectations.
Correct. The issue is now when the expectations are really high from the beginning and it's a very costly transaction, now the side effect of things do not go well, it's actually very expensive than versus a small product that, things get lost, et cetera, et cetera.
For sure. And on the flip side of that, if they expect you to lose it, then you're in a good spot. So like if a goalie, they expect you to let in 3 goals every game and you only let in 1, you'll be all right. So it's really all about managing expectations.
I get.
And Ori, being a co-founder, CEO now for close to over a decade, managing expectations, it's important externally, but it's also just as important internally. How do you go about building a culture that is so innovative, so forward-driven, and things like that?
That's a good question. I think it starts with the people you bring around you. Okay, you can have a goal to set up a culture, and you bring the wrong people to the culture. You're gonna have a very hard time to influence the culture. You can set up the wrong culture and bring the right people. They will actually help you to fix it as well. What I think you want as someone who either start a company or lead a company is that first you need to understand what is the goal for you as the first, what I call the first base. In the case of who are the most important people that are gonna have the highest impact on the rest of the people you're gonna hire after. And if you can make 100% success rate, but if you make, let's say, close to the 75, 80% success on those core group that's going to help you to build a company, everything else is going to be easier from that on. And culture is not something you write on a piece of paper. You're going to put those 10 bullets and this is going to happen. Culture is like the people around you, that everyone going to have the same mission together of building a company, building a product, achieving a goal. And everyone need to understand this boat gonna go this direction, okay? And we all pull at the right time, or each person pull it when they need the most to make sure you're taking it there. One more thing that is something I learned over the years is that you need to be ready to be adaptable, because as your company changes, your company growth, things that you can do with 5 or 10 employees, very hard to do with 100 employees, okay? It doesn't mean you can stop doing things that are important or cut, do some shortcuts, but you do need to be able to make adjustments. Okay, to be stubborn doesn't help. I learned that you can't force yourself into things or situations that people not gonna take it. They either gonna lose the people, or they just not be able to implement your wishes. And listening to your people, all the way down to the guy that just joined 2 or 3 months ago, they give you some feedback about the organization, is extremely impacting the entire organization, because they will give you very honest feedback. They will sometimes are more eager even to give you, because they are just started and they are ready to share. And then all the way up, one thing I'll add is that some people you're gonna have those hiring which are bad culture, and this is where you need to act really fast. Because if you have a bad actor, if you want to call it, and you are not acting against it, it's like putting a rotten apple in a basket of very good apples. All the other apples will slowly get infected. Not to mention the entire basket smells bad. Okay, and when the basket smells bad, people leave. So you wanna, if you feel something is not going to your wishes or goals, you need to deep dive, understand what the root cause, and if they're the bad player, it's time to eject the bad player. So as good as it can be, and we had cases like this, but it's just not the overall sum here is not what you expected. You're gonna get less of what you should have got.
I love that. And Ori, looking forward now, you've obviously built a strong culture, you've built a strong product. Looking forward, what's the goal for Grasshopper Labs at the minute? What's the mission you're on?
So clearly, we still have a startup. We're small but growing very nicely. The forward obviously is to educate the industry we are in on why what we do is extremely important for eventually to their customers. And I think if we will be able to build a brand around the messaging we are want to educate the community, I think that's going to work very well for us. There's a lot of initiative, whether it's primarily development and product enhancement that we do on our end. Without really using the word AI too much, I would say using the practicality of what AI can do today for the real life experience of the customers. Okay. The joke we like to say that there's so much noise around AI, but no AI engine in the world will ever make a driver not to take a lunch break. It doesn't happen. Okay. But a lot of AI capabilities can make a customer experience a lot nicer, a lot cleaner, and make the entire communication across the board between the customer, the shipper, the carrier, and the driver, for example, much, much easier. And we are pretty much playing with those areas to make it what we call practical AI and less of a BS AI kind of a way.
Mm-hmm. Checks out. I like it. And like I said, you guys obviously, you coming back from Deliveright, got a strong foundation to keep things going forward with this one. So excited to see where things go. But Ori, before we wrap up, I've got one last question for you. It's my favorite question to ask founders, CEOs. If you could rewind the clock a little bit, give Ori a piece of advice on day one of starting your first company that you know now, what would that one piece of advice be?
A very good question. The joke I'll say, don't do it. But I would say if you, if one thing I would love to do, if I could redo it again, okay, I would I will say narrow the focus in the early stage a lot narrower and a lot deeper, versus trying to catch a lot more or grow really, really fast, and then I have to contract after that. Because sometimes when you feel that everything's so good and you should just grow so quickly, the scaling of a company is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. Okay, and it's very attractive on one hand because I'm growing really nicely. I can really build up this dream that I want to dream. Customers flocking in like crazy. But at the same time, if your foundation are not strong enough, you're gonna have some shaky building, if you want to call it. And sometimes to just nail a little bit and build like a very strong foundation and then build it up, it's much more. It will have much longer kind of a long term value and impact on your overall base. Fortunately, I think we did this on the early delivery days. We've not done it on the Grasshopper because we did learn the lesson of building a company. I'm not going to say slow, but I'll say safer by scaling it right and not just scaling because someone telling you need to scale quickly. That could actually have a very, very bad impact on your overall goal.
I like it. Essentially, run your own race. You know what pace you're supposed to be going at. Don't just let the noise get to you of we need this many clients, we need this much revenue. You know your own pace. So I like that.
Well, a lot of people will give you a lot of very good advices, okay? But no one will ever know more than you do. No one. They can be a lot of experience, even in very similar industries or similar companies. But at the end of the day, when you build a company, you know more than anyone else, or likely you will know more than any other outside advisors. You should take their feedback, absolutely, learn from them, and then bring it all this insight together and make your own final decision based on what you know versus what people tell you you should do.
Mm-hmm. Trust your gut. It's the name of being an entrepreneur. I think, like you said, lots of people are going to have good advice. Maybe they've even been in your shoes, but at the end of the day, they're not in your shoes. So, got to make the best decision for yourself, or at least what you think it is.
Correct. Thank you.
And Ori, we can begin the wrap up now. I'll be sure to tag your LinkedIn, Grasshopper's website down below. But is there anywhere else people can connect with you on?
Hey, you can find, you can learn about us on grasshopperlabs.io. It's our website. Feel free to email me or LinkedIn. Happy to connect, help new entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs. It's a fun experience. You don't want to do it alone. You want to do it with some people that either went to this or going to this. It's a founder to founder conversation are one of the most open and honest conversation you can have, because eventually we're all in the same boat, and it's much easier to share pain with people going through the same pain versus people that are not. It's a different dialogue that you're running.
For sure. No, Ori, really appreciate that. And I'll be sure to tag all your links down in the description. But for everybody tuning in, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for listening this long. And Ori, thank you for taking the time to come on the show.
Thanks so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.